Hi, this is Evan at my tiny workshop. I just wanted to show you something that I have done. This is H9-ounce leather, and I have done it on my 1897 Singer sewing machine. I did have to put a modern motor on it, but this is also the small motor. After buying this, I wish I had bought the larger one, the 1.3 amp instead of the 0.8 amp motor. I will be doing that shortly. But I did machine this motor plate because the original that comes with the motor is very flimsy. I'm saying very, very flimsy. I've just tied up all the wiring, and also for this LED light, which works quite well. Bought that off of Amazon. As you can see though, it stitches amazingly well on this very thick leather. This is the thickest leather that I ever use, and I rarely use that thick. This is the Sphinx Singer, which is a fairly rare model. I did put a new belt on it, and I'm using fairly thick thread. This is bonded nylon, and I don't remember the thickness, but it is definitely thick enough, as you can see. Not your typical sewing machine thread. The nice thing about this machine, if I pull it back, this is one that uses this type. If I can get it out, it uses this type of bobbin, and they commonly call this a rattler machine. The way that it comes back and around, fairly hard to find, but if you can find one, this is the machine for leatherworking. Not the one that has the bobbin out here. The bobbin is smaller diameter and won't hold very much thread. That's the reason why I recommend this shuttle bobbin design. This other one is round instead of the shuttle. This holds quite a lot of thread. The other one will not. So if you want to do a fairly long stitch, you will want this, as well as it holds thicker thread and feeds thicker thread much nicer. So that's what you want to look for. And then this was a cabinet design or a suitcase design sewing machine. So there are mechanisms underneath here. Because I am not using the suitcase portion, I made this base to raise it up to clear the mechanisms. This was a little excessive. I used rough sawn maple. So rough sawn boards from a sawmill, and planed each surface to get it to the desired height and depth and everything that I wanted. And then finished it all. After doing that, then I assembled it. And then actually I used double-sided tape, as you can barely see in here, to stick the machine to the frame, which worked quite well. It holds amazingly well. I can tape it, move it around. It doesn't come loose. And I didn't want to cut or drill into the surface here to drill and tap or otherwise screw the machine down. I really didn't want to do that. Even though this isn't the nicest looking machine, it's pretty. And I didn't want to do that. So this worked quite well. So that being said, it's a very simple machine. Very simple, easy to thread. Just come down and around against the tension through that loop, through this loop here, and then thread it through this direction, and then pull your thread back, and you will be ready to stitch. The only thing that I had to do besides that is find the correct needles to work with this machine and the thread that I'm using. So I actually took 135 needles for upholstery, and I cut the shanks down to a 130 length. That worked quite well. I just shortened up the needle on the shank part where it goes into here. That worked well. I've had no problems with it. It's worked amazing. I've done it for quite a long time now, and it's been perfect. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know, and I will get back to you. Have a good night.